Hey people, this is what I woke up to the other day on my birthday. So I thought I'd go to Facebook and share this and let everybody know that I share a birthday with thought. This is what I'd rather be doing on my birthday. I noticed Amanda was having a beautiful day in Fort Lauderdale and give me a dauber. And I want to let anybody know if you can put me up somewhere where the backyard looks like this, I'll come wash your windows and teach school for free. So Amanda's all about breaking down the study of language. So this goes out to Amanda. And if you've never heard the word dauber before, if you're an old timer, you might have heard your grandpa tell grandma one time. Maybe he was out on the porch whittling or something and she was irritating him and he told her she better get on in and fix dinner if he's going to chase her in there with that dauber. So this is what a dauber is. It comes straight out the Bible. It's why they call the old Hebrew or the old Greek or the old German the Vulgate. And because it was vulgar and that's the way the sailors talked. When you're in boot camp, that's how to get young kids to pay attention, to understand. You got a room full of 17, 18, 19-year-old students. They pay better attention if everything's about sex. So all the lines in the Bible that start with "and God said," this is what they really say. It says to make the dauber of Elohim. And that dauber is in Palm. If you're reading the POM, that's a stiffy. And but in the Palm, it says to make through the house of Ra. So that Palm, P-O-M, that's pictures to see from. And the Palm, P-A-L-M, is the pictures to learn by and from. This was all coded like this on purpose with the two different stories, or more than two stories. There's no telling how deep it goes. But it kind of ensures if some of the books, the secret books, get lost, that people don't quite understand it. It takes a little longer to break it down. So these Egyptians, they kind of make it like they're worshiping a erect penis, but that's not what is going on. That DBR is through the house of the head to the Elohim to learn the work from. And they're worshiping knowledge is what they're worshiping. And all the other palm and all that wording is just to fool the rest of them for the goyim. So this Elohim, he's sitting on the A, and the A is knowledge, power, and it looks like upside down American flag does, but actually it's right side up, and the one we're flying is upside down, and that was designed that way to fool us. So that knowledge is astrology, and it's coded. That square and compass, that's what that means. And it's coded all through the artwork and through the buildings, all through ancient Egypt. The one that sits on the knowledge is the bind. And you can see he's got the life in his right hand. The ankh means life, the same as that letter E in the Hebrew language. And he's got his work from in his left hand. And that's to reach up on a shelf and get the top shelf books down, or put them back, and the other end's got a hook, and that's for reaching elixirs off the top shelf, for holding the hot work away. That's his works from, and that would be your Elohim right there. Then and the G, that G was a tent in Egypt, and that's where same as when you walk in on your 15-year-old and he's got a tent underneath his sheets there. That's the G. That's the tent. So this is Exodus 1:1, and it starts the Ten Commandments there. And so it says to make the dauber, to learn the works from, learn the writings, to give bind the Deborim. That's ancient writings, and it's telling you the colors of the dauber to work from. You can see this dauber here looks a lot like that that Sumerian tablet of ancient trigonometry that's supposed to be better than our trigonometry that we use today. And that tet, that's a equal increment scale, and looks like he's holding that in his left hand. And that G down there, that would be the same as Jeb in the Bible, the tent people. And when they're talking about tent, they're usually talking about a smoking drug, of opium tent. I don't guess they had rolling papers, so they'd smoke up the whole tent. And this lotus flower, if you had more than one, that was the loti, the loti, the bind to see the numbers. So this Ogdo, this is the original 8 of creation. These are the 8 elements that everything was created out of before Ra. And it's 4 dualities. It's a male and feminine, and the feminine's all end with a T, and it's all the writings, the connected writings to go with it. You can see they all sit and hold their hands in the same position, and it has a lot to do with it because the hands are another language, and there's another set of writings, and it was the hand-to-hand combat that called karate. It was for the kings because they didn't like to get punched, so they liked the open hand style, and they try to call it wrestling, but you can see plenty of the writings say that's the katu ratan, and you can see on top it's the hand connect to the hand, and that's the open hand battle style. And everybody else was thinking that they were going to school to learn to fight. What's actually going on is they're learning all these hand codes in the fighting stances. They're learning what the hand codes and the writings mean. So everybody's wondering what happened to these Egyptian people, where'd they go? And they didn't disappear. All they did was flip their flag over and branch out. And they're all around the world. You know, you're looking at Egyptian when you look in the mirror. That's where they went. And this tribe of Naphtali, Dan, and Judah, they combined and became the Union of Jacob. And that became the East India Trading Company. That became Britain. That became the United States. A lot of people hate to hear this, but the more you paid attention in history class, the less you know. Because that crock they fed you about Betsy Ross coming up with 13 stars and 13 stripes, and the reason behind it goes way deeper than that. I was checking out the Jefferson Davis Library, and he was hip to all this. He had many ancient alchemical books. He had the Book of the Nun, and he understood what was going on. And you can see that other one there, they totally removed it, and I imagine it's because it's got that Trinity of Jacob flag sitting underneath him. So this Trinity decided they were going to dominate the seas. They were going to take over, and they could get a whole country addicted to drugs, and then they could control the supply and charge whatever they want. They were destroying and robbing all the competitors, and to make sure they got every last cent, they were printing their own money down to the half cent just to make sure they got every one of them. They were looting the world, and they had stockholders back home that were raising the rent to make sure that they could get more personnel to fill their ships. When honest businessmen seen what they were doing, they thought they'd get in on the action, and they went ahead and raised it up on their sale and let everybody know that they were bringing in the drugs, and they were going to cut the prices. Well, they had to quash that, so they labeled them pirates, and they labeled them the thieves when it was the Trinity that was actually doing the damage around the world. So this led to the Tea Party and the Revolution, and which was actually our handlers decided it was time for us to have a depopulation, and when it was all over and said and done, we gave our national forest to England, and we gave Washington D.C. to the Vatican, and we really didn't win anything. We just got quieted down. We signed a treaty that give all that up, and we're still flying their flag. So now they're trying to destroy the real revolutionary flag because they don't want us to think that there's a possibility of having a revolution against them. They want to quash that idea. They want to get rid of all the statues and all the memorials because they don't want us to ever think about that again. But it's time. Don't let them destroy any more history. It's time for people to wake up and figure out who the real enemy is here. And it's time to put them in their place. Good day, folks. God is love, God is light, God is knowledge.